Hi there, ready to handcraft your next memory? Come join me and I'll show you a fun way to mix and match products to create your one-of-a-kind memory keeping layout. See you in a bit. Hi there and welcome to a new episode of Inspired by a Card with Natalie. Today we're going to be working on creating a layout from scratch, mixing and matching pieces from Altenew. And the inspiration is going to come from an old card that I created last year for one of the blog hubs. And actually I love the idea of this and I'm going to borrow some of them for my layout. So I'm starting with some cold pressed watercolor paper. I'm gonna trim my 9x12 sheet into a 5 3/4 by 8.5 piece, and I'm gonna base it on the width of my Essential Textures wood press plate because I want to make sure that I have the impression of that plus a little bit for my binding. So when you look at my card, I actually use the Spark Joy Sweet Greetings to create that card because I love the art that it creates, but it doesn't have a die. So I actually used my scissors to fussy cut it after I had foil. Well, this time I'm actually going to use the press plate to kind of create a template for that arch. But because my panel or my layout is a little bit bigger than an A2 card, I am actually going to create kind of a pill design, and by that I mean I'm just gonna draw the first arch. I'm gonna rotate my foil plate around 180 degrees and I'm gonna create kind of this oval shape in the center of my panel, and then I'm gonna use my comfy cut knife to just cut out my piece, and I'm gonna have that pill design kind of look inside of my page. So I am actually gonna use my Better Press to create the impression of the wood press plate onto the watercolor paper. My original card actually I had foil and I wanted that gold look, but instead I'm going to actually use my press plate. So I'm just using antique gold pigment ink to create this. Now what you have to keep in mind is that the panel that I'm actually creating the impression is longer than an A2 card. For the second pass I just had to lower my plate to make sure that I created that elongated look of wooden planks on my layout. So once I was done, I just hit it with a little bit of heat to set the ink, and I'm gonna start working on my florals until my impression watercolor is ready. So I am using 2 florals to create kind of my focal point for this. I'm going to use the Build a Garden Blooming Delight, which is the one that I'm stamping, and then I'm going to use the Build a Garden Nature's Magic to create 2 of the small clusters. And I'm using Obsidian Pigment Ink for this in my stamp wheel, and I love the new black sticky mat. You're going to see it, you're going to love it. So once I have them ready, I'm actually going to die cut them using the add-on dies for each one of the sets. But I wanted to set up the idea a little bit. So I went into my stash of paper from Altenew and I pulled a piece of paper from the Celebrate collection. I'm using the 12x12 and the 6x6 paper pad for this layout. And I kind of cut a piece to back that empty space on the title, what's going to be my title page, and then I'm going to use another piece to create my kind of my pocket cards. So while my wood impression paper keeps drying, I'm going to start working on adding color to my florals, and I'm going to pull some color. This is the Northern Shore inks, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna skip the first stencil. I'm using the stencils from the Build a Garden Blooming Delight right now. I'm gonna skip the first stencil. I want the florals, if you look at the original card, it's pretty much white and black, so I just stamped them and put them on my card. This time I want to bring a little bit of blue because my uncle is wearing a shirt that's gray and blue, so I want to tie the 2 sides of my layout together. So I'm gonna go with really just using like some of the stencils. I'm going to skip the first one and the last one. I'm not going to color the leaves. I just want to add a little bit of the blue to the florals, and then I'm going to start add a little bit of color to the centers. For that I'm using citronella and sand dunes. Simple as that. Once I have my big Blooming Delight floral ready, I'm gonna set it to the side to, like, for the ink to dry, and I'm gonna work on my little Nature's Magic florets, and I'm gonna use the same color inks. Again, this is the Northern Shore Crisp Dye inks, the mini cubes, and I'm gonna go super light. I don't want a lot of color because I don't want it to be competing that much with everything else, but I do want a little bit of color so that it ties with the picture. So I'm gonna try to reach a happy medium here. So a little bit of color, not a lot, not too little. So I think that's my happy medium right there. So once I have that, I'm pretty much set to start building my title page, which is what the focus of this is gonna be at. So like I said, I use a piece of paper from the Celebrate collection to back this page. You're gonna see that I'm not gluing anything. I'm just playing with the positioning of my florals. I want to have my florals to be really heavy on the left hand side of the peel, kind of coming from underneath the that empty space. I'm not gluing anything right now. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of foam adhesive to attach it to the outside of that cut that I created, and then I'm going to turn the paper and back the empty space with the piece of the Celebrate collection paper, and then I'm just going to trim the excess of the florals that are sticking outside of the page because I want kind of a clean look for this. Once I have that, you're gonna see that pretty much I'm gonna just make sure that nothing is coming off. Once I have that, I need to create a title too. So like I said, this is my aunt and my uncle on their 45th wedding anniversary. They celebrated. They live in Ecuador. He is like a father to me, so I'm actually always get pictures from them, so I wanted to add it to my family album. So for this, I'm going to cut the numbers using the bold numeral die set, and I cut them out of metallic gold cardstock and also diamond glitter cardstock, and I'm also going to use the sweet sentiments die set to create the word celebrate from the same color cardstock. So my idea is, if you look at the foil, at the card that I use, I actually foil one of the sentiments using gold foil, so I want to bring the same look using these dies. So I'm going to use the metallic gold as kind of the shadow underneath the sparkle diamond glitter cardstock die cut, and then for the numbers I'm gonna glue the kind of glittery paper on top of the gold, kind of on a slant, so you see that the gold paper is gonna become kind of the shadow for them. Once I have them, I'm gonna glue them to the bottom right corner of my title page. So it's going to be a little bit on the heavy side on this left hand side of my layout, but the right hand side is gonna stay super simple. That's what I said. I wanted to balance the two sides, and that's what I'm bringing a little bit of blue to tie with the t-shirt. So now for my B side, or the right side, or the picture side, I already had a card pre-made for my stash. I just backed the picture with a piece of the same paper from the Celebrate collection just to bring some of that kind of blushy tones onto the right. Now one thing that I had created for the block hoop for the Essential Textures wood press plate is that I had used the press plate to actually foil a piece of cardstock, and I used gold mirror hot foil for this. So I'm just gonna cut a little piece to create a banner. Then I'm gonna glue one of those little Build a Garden Nature's Magic on top of it, and I'm using a sentiment from the One Goal Loving Sentiments just to bring a little bit extra sentiment to the page. And that's about it. I love how this turned out. You can find all the details in the blog, and as always, if you have any questions, you can contact me. Leave me a comment here and I'll come back. And you know what, I'll be coming back soon, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more beautiful content. There's always something new being added, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you soon, guys. Take care.
Hey there, Lydia here. I really do hope that you've just enjoyed the video. If so, please subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, turn on the notification bell so you can get your daily dose of crafty techniques and tutorials just like this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.